We've asked Russ Roberts to continue our briefing in several key areas. The first is to actually talk in some more specifics about the new T661 form. Secondly, we've asked him to give us some comments on the new self-assessment screening tool. That's an online tool that you'll be working with. And lastly, we've asked for some practical tips. What do I have to do as a claimant of SR&ED tax credits under the new system?
Well, first of all, the new form is a requirement. You have to fill it out if you're going to claim the credits. Secondly, you need to look at the form differently than you have in the past. CRA has produced a guidance document which actually sets a series of requirements and standards quite often for what you put in the form. In principle, it's a simpler form. It's looking for very precise information. Because of the nature of the form, there is a requirement actually that you complete it and complete it completely. Also, that you get it right, because after 18 months after your year end, if it isn't right and they're auditing, you can't make changes if it's done wrong. Because of the precision of what they're asking for, what it does is require you to think through very carefully your answers, and that you, because of their new requirements as well, it means that you have to be able to support every statement in terms of documentation that's produced as the R&D goes on. Finally, what it's looking for is a project description written for every project. As an assistant to claimants, particularly those who are using the 35% tax credit, they're normally the smaller firms with less complex projects. They have created a self-assessment tool. The tool is an interesting document. It draws very much on the legislation and is actually quite technical. If, when you use it, your project looks eligible, it is undoubtedly eligible. But because of the technical nature of the document or the material, it can lead to confusion unless you really have a good grasp of the legislation and the policies, which are not clearly explained in the document itself. Read the guidance and understand the implications of it for your firm. It's no longer setting direction for the way you put together your claim. It's setting requirements for how you look at your projects, how you fill out the form, what information you need, and finally, what type of documentation you have to produce as the project goes on. As well, the concept of an R&D project that they're using focus very much at the nugget, the component where the R&D is in a large project, where it starts from. You have to get that right. And you've got to be able to document the work, the thinking around those problems, the specific ones that drive the R&D. You should have been doing it all the time, but the difference is now that they are looking for documentation that's actually produced very much within the classical concept of an R&D project, centered in that management zone of a large project.